Obviously there's result-oriented things that you can talk about, which I'm less interested in, and then there's, more holistic things that you can talk about that I think I'm more excited about. But the facts of the results being, finishing with a high ranking and making a playoff run and having some great road wins, I think having some All-American honors for a lot of our guys. I think all those things are great, and really I think the players deserve a lot of the praise for those things. There's still a good amount of us that are getting over the fact that, we weren't playing the other night. Felt like we had the team to get there, and, we got to look at the reasons as to why we didn't. And that's the exciting thing of coaching is, you're right back at it, trying to build a team, trying to improve your environment, improve the culture to figure out how you can get back to where you were and see if you can figure out a way to get further. Holistically, I'm really excited just about the environment that we're creating, and the players we got coming back, the coaches we got coming back, and the growing support from the community and the alumni. Those things I think, point us to great years to come. I think, we were having a recruiting event at Froggy's the other night, and, to have Adam and Tommy come up to me. I've known those guys since I was 18 years old, and them talk about how it feels like, it's 1990 again, and just the community and tying into the team and us doing events there. And so I think holistically we're doing the right things and we're heading in the right direction. But, not winning a conference championship and not winning a national championship will always be below the standard in my mind. So we got to figure out a way to win those last few games, and I'm excited for that journey with the guys coming back, and it'll be a fun several months to build this to see if we can take another swing at it. I think there are two ways to build a team nowadays. You see teams that, I don't need to say the names of the teams, but you can see the teams that choose to build it through the portal and choose to build it through transfers, and that can bring very quick results positively. And you can also bring you tough team building. I think about Florida State, for example, and just the year-to-year changes you can have. Great coach, great program, but it's tough when you're constantly living in that world. But that is a route to go. We don't necessarily subscribe to that. I believe that the niche that we do have is that most teams aren't recruiting the high schools the way that they did 20 years ago. And that's going to leave great high school players available for us to talk about the advantages they would have of coming here, playing here, trying to win a championship, and then creating 3 opportunities really for them to be successful in life, whether it be your degree from Davis, to the NFL from Davis, or using the portal at the end of your career to go to a higher school that's going to pay you lots of money, and then use that before you go to the NFL. And I think I'm fully supportive of all 3 avenues. But we're going to focus our efforts on developing high school players and having them come through our program. And then we're going to always identify a few places every year that we feel like we need to bring in someone to help us right now. David Meyer was a great example of, we didn't have a lot of linebacker depth. We had lost some guys to graduation and to transfer, and we needed someone right away. We didn't feel like it was fair to have all the freshman linebackers have to do everything on their own. But we weren't just going to bring anybody in. We had to find someone that was a graduate that, fit our environment. David did that, was an All-American, had a great year. So I don't knock Teddy for leaving either, and I don't think Land made a poor decision either. I think it's my job to develop the players here, give them as much love and support as I can, and then help them make those decisions. So I think you could see Teddy made the right decision in leaving, going to Cal, playing all year, first team all ACC. That's going to really help him in his future. I think you would say that Land made the right decision too. He stayed here. He had 2,400 yards, left a legacy at UC Davis. He'll be one of the greatest players to ever play here. And he's got 32 NFL teams and another 16 to 20 GMs coming to Davis on March 31st to watch him work out. So I think you can be successful in both avenues. And I would say the same thing about Kavir graduating from UC Davis with a degree, and then being able to go in the portal and go to Pitt, in a great situation for him. And anyone that knows Kavir's family, to where he's come from, to get to a point where someone's going to pay him that amount of money to go play there, that's something I wouldn't let him turn down. And, Kavir's on his official trips to Pitt, and, he's calling me every hour. And I'm the one talking to him about negotiating and talking to the staff. And I'm not mad at him for leaving. I'm trying to help him get to a good scenario. And that's great for Kavir. We're on the phone with tears in our eyes think about where he came from and now where he's at. He got his degree from Davis, gets to go play at Pitt for a year, get paid a boatload of money. Awesome, right? And Rex choosing to stay, I feel similar to Land. Rex could go. He sees what Land did. He sees the legacy part of it. He also sees the fact that, we were walking off that field at South Dakota together, kind of arm in arm, just thinking, damn, we were close. We got to get back. I think he really wants to be a part of that. I think he knows if he puts a Land-type season together, then he'll have 50 people here next March to see him work out, And so I think both scenarios are great. I think it's really bad for us to judge anybody on what they want to do because we're not in those shoes. We're not sitting there in front of the offers that these guys get. I just want to create an environment that guys want to be a part of, and I hope that if our guys do leave, that they are, graduates of UC Davis that have built themselves up, and we've developed them so well that someone's willing to pay them to finish their career. I think that speaks a lot to who we are as coaches and people, and I love that part of UC Davis. I think it helps us in our recruiting efforts for the next young high school guy. Hey, look, we can develop you for the NFL. We can develop you for the SEC. We can develop you better than anybody. And then in regards to for this class, really it's defensive back and defensive line that has had to deal with an incredible amount of graduates and some transfers. And so we've had to look into the portal, mostly graduate transfers, similar to David Meyer, that could come in here and give us an immediate boost for 1 year at those two positions. We had a really successful recruiting weekend this past weekend and have about, half a dozen guys that are going to do that for us. And it's new, but we were talking as a staff how cool it is to have, just mature older guys. They know what they want. They see what this place can be. They want to win a championship. They want to play for a winning team. They know they can come in and make an impact right away. They saw David's success. I think they know that we have a plan for them because they've seen it work. So I'm excited that we were able to get that done. And I think that'll fill in a lot of the holes that we have defensively. And I think now we got a chance to really build our team for next fall, which will be really fun. I think we've done a really good job, and I give Rocco and Josh Fleshman and Liz and everyone involved a lot of credit to this and that. Like, I didn't really want us to show up and just start begging people for money. I wanted to get here, spend a year to try to develop meaningful relationships and invite people back into this place and for them to see with their own eyes what it is and what we're trying to do. And I think that we've taken the long road approach to that, which can be frustrating sometimes. Everyone wants it right now, but I think we made the right decision in that, hey, let's redevelop some relationships. Let's cultivate meaningful conversations about what this is going to look like. So I think I'm excited about the fact that we have a lot more people part of those conversations than when I first got here. A lot more people that are willing to engage in those conversations. That's exciting. I think the next step is, what do we really want this place to be? I know what I want it to be. I want it to be one of the best programs in the country, a year in, year out champion contender, And because that represents our school, and it represents what UC Davis is, which is about elite performance, really, elite people. And if we really want to do that, then we've got to commit ourselves to putting in the time and effort that it's going to take for us to do that. And I think that's really the communication I'm trying to spread to our alumni and our donors and our community, is that we're not asking people to reinvent the wheel here. We're asking people to help us take that next step. And our commitment is that we're going to create a team that they're very proud of, guys that represent the school really well, work really hard. But we do need resources to be able to do that. We've got to be able to take care of these guys while they're here in regards to nutrition and regards to housing and I think about just the travel and how much it costs. We got 7 road games next year. The first game of the year, we're going all the way to Alabama. Might have to leave a day early. All those things cost money. And if we shortcut those things to save money, we're going to shortcut the result of what the team can do. And I think in the past, our mindset was, we're the program that does more with less. And I think now, I hope we can flip that and, hey, we're the program that's going to do more with what everybody has. Like, we all have the same as they do, and watch us do more than what they do in regards to how we perform. Let's not try to outperform them by having less. Let's try to have the same as everybody, and then we'll show you how good we can be. So I think we got people in those conversations, but I'm excited to get in front of them and talk to them about what that looks like. And again, I think the players are going to come and go. The assistants are going to come and go. But I'm going to be here, and I'm committed to seeing that through. And I know it's going to not be an overnight thing, but I hope that they see that commitment from me and know how hard I'm working. And I hope that others can work with me to figure out what it takes for us to win those last 2 games, what it takes for us to win a Big Sky championship. And just because we're close this year does not mean we don't need help. I think, luckily, I'm happy to say there's a lot of people that see that and they want to help, which is good.
Have you had a chance to, now since the season's been over for about a month, you kind of look back and thinking, wow, we had a really great team, or kind of give me your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do think I meant what I said earlier in the year. Their results statistically speak to that being the greatest team in the history of the school, right? And you can argue 1982 or 2000, 2001 or 2018, all have valid arguments, but those teams didn't play a Division I schedule. Those teams didn't play in the FCS, and those teams didn't have to deal with what our guys dealt with, and those teams did not win 11 games to my knowledge, or if they did, they only won 11 games. So I think that team deserves to be recognized at least as one of the greatest teams of all time. And I know they're really disappointed. They felt like they had a chance to get there. And so that was the bummer, but also the cool thing about the locker room was at no point were those guys celebrating what they accomplished. They were very much reflecting on, they felt like the opportunity they let get away. But the good thing about that is they've taught the next guys what it's going to take. So I hope that when Miles and Lan and Zach Kennedy and Evan Bearden and Toki and David and Eli and all those guys come back, that they, Chaz, Trent, CJ, they all come back one day, and when we do win it, they feel like they were the team that helped us kind of see what that blueprint looked like so that we could map it out for the future. I think 24 is perfect. I just think about the schedule and the longevity of what this year really felt like. A big hurdle for us is that finals week. It really did get us, not as an excuse, but we did have 28 guys taking a final Friday night before the game.
I saw them.
Go right to meetings.
That's just hard. No matter what you do, it's hard. It's hard to map that out. We got to do a better job as a football staff of figuring out the best way to help those guys. But if we would have won that game, you're playing the next week, and then you're playing, if you win that game, you're not playing until January 6th. Well, that's the same day as the first day of the winter quarter. That's a long, season. So I think if you were to add more teams, it's only going to make it longer. And I don't know if that's best at this point, especially with the issues we have right now with the transfer portal starting on December, and we're in the middle of the playoffs. So we're about to play our first playoff game, and Blake Cotton is going in the portal.
Flip side is, are there too many teams in it?
No, I like the 24 because I was a part of it when it was 16, and I always felt like there were good teams that didn't get in, and I know this year was kind of chalk, the 8 seeds won, but that's not always the case. There's always, I think, 16 to 20 really good teams, and I like the fact that everyone has a chance to get in. So that part I think is good. I loved how they seeded it 1 through 16 this year. I thought that was really good. That really helped, and I thought you saw. The top 8 teams really were the top 8 teams, where in the past I think they didn't have that, and it kind of went more by who could have more money for the home games, and so sometimes the best teams weren't the top 8, and I thought this was clear that they did a great job ranking that, so I thought that was really good. Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that we can't do winter football, because I am a big believer of that, and when Coach Hawk started that in 17, I thought that was a brilliant move by him, but even when I first got here, he was starting to make that transition to not do winter ball, and I can see why. We just don't have enough time right now to get our guys ready to perform in the winter, and we want to play till January. And if that's our goal every year, then it's really not intelligent of us to plan on practicing in February and March. So we made the decision to kind of make the switch to spring football, and so Jeff will get 10 full weeks with the guys right now. We're going through phase 1 of our off season, and we'll get through that the next 10 weeks, and guys will be out here in the mornings competing. And I encourage all of our alumni to come out on Friday mornings. Like last year, we used to have 20-25 guys come out on Friday mornings and watch the guys work out. Thought that was really cool, so I encourage everyone to come out Friday mornings to see that. And then we'll start spring OTAs March 31st, and then we'll start spring football later that week, and we'll go till the spring game on April 26th, and just an early, pub out there again to the community. I think last year we got about 2,000, 2,500 people to come out to the spring game. I'm hoping that an April 26th, early evening spring celebration game, let's see if we can double that and get 4,000, 5,000 people with some students to come out and have a real fun night on our spring game. And we'll have junior day that night for recruits, and hopefully it'll be a really cool event. So hopefully we can build on that for April 26th. 5 home games, 6 road games, and technically a neutral game, although we're playing Mercer in Alabama. So it doesn't feel neutral to me.
From Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So, it's like all those playoff games that are always in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta,
It doesn't feel neutral to me,
Cotton
but
Bowl in Texas.
But you're outside state here, obviously.
yeah, Sac State here. But just to go back, I was just joking about that a little bit. We're really excited to play in that 0-week game against Mercer, to get to be on ESPN. We're really thankful that they reached out to us to have a national broadcast game like that to start the season. To have UC Davis again on that type of network is really great for our community, great for our school. So, and playing another great playoff team like Mercer, that'll be really fun for our program to go against a great team like that to start the year. So that'll be interesting, having a 0-week game, so we start camp a week early and all that. But that also means we get 2 byes. But yeah, because of that, we lose one of our home games. So we'll have 7 travel days and 5 home games. We're always looking at trying to have a lot of road games early in the season for that reason. Doesn't always work out that way, but we're always looking in the preseason of, okay, how can we play some good opponents probably on the road and maybe have 1 max home game before school starts. So, we talked about that when this game got offered to us, like, hey, Plow, are you okay with 3 road games? Obviously you don't want that, but the benefit is, like you said, all of our games will be after school starts. So hopefully that means we got a good turnout from the students and good home environment. Basically, we got contacted by, the different schedulers and ESPN looking for opponents for that game. I know last year I think Montana State played New Mexico on the 0-week. So I think
they played that game in New Mexico, right?
correct. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is more of a yearly kickoff game they do at neutral sites.
It's said since 2017.
Yeah. So usually there's a Southern team and then someone else that is a part of it. We felt really honored that they reached out to us initially. It just became more clear to us that we already had 2 road games scheduled, so it was just kind of deciding if, we felt like that was best for our team. But I think overriding, we thought about the marketing and just getting our program on national television again. The type of spike we got after playing Montana that night on ESPN was really huge for our program. And we thought it led to the great crowd we had the week after. So I think more opportunity for us to do that is probably worth it. So it's okay
Plus
if it's a road.
exposure on a weekend when there's very few games
Exactly.
on TV.
Yeah.
And we'll have a lot of eyes on our program, and that we felt like that was worth more than maybe the strain of having 3 road games. Yeah, I think you'll see, anywhere from 8 to 10 guys participate that are guys that can play football past college. Obviously, Lan is the most notable, and it's great that many NFL teams are coming to see him because that puts more eyes on some of our other guys that might not be under the radar. Lan's feeling great. He ended up getting, the tightrope surgery on his ankle, which is pretty common nowadays. And doing that hopefully to speed up his recovery because, if you just try to rehab it, it can go a long time. So I thought our docs communicated well with him on that being a good option. Surgery went really well. He's already, walking around and doing rehab here. So
What's the nature of the injury?
basically it's a sprained ankle. It's a high ankle sprain, but if the degree of the ankle sprain is that high, nowadays they can operate in what's called a tightrope surgery. Where they just, surgically repair the ligament in the ankle, and it just helps speed up the recovery.
Two
So,
got it done.
yeah.
And he was back like 3 weeks later. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. So I think the hope is that, and the NFL teams were great. They pushed back the pro day to March 31st for Lan. So, our hope is that he's healthy by early March and then has a few weeks to get himself in great shape there. And no doubt in my mind he'll be in the NFL. Who drafts him or what, who knows, but the amount of people that are reaching out to me feels a lot like Keelan Doss. So I know he'll be playing in the NFL. Miles obviously has been claimed by Canadian Football League in the draft, similar to Jake Mayer. So that's a real possibility for him. Really, really happy for him to have that opportunity, but he'll be throwing at the pro day and all that. And then I think about Evan Bearden and Zach Kennedy. Zach just had a little cleanup on his knee, which was sorely needed for him. So he'll be good and healthy. So I know those 2 guys will have a great opportunity to keep playing football and at whatever level. But I know the NFL teams are really interested in those 2 guys. And obviously you got the David Meyer, Chaz Davis, C.J. Hutton, Trent Tompkins crew that I think will get decent looks to keep playing football past that. And so I'm excited for all those guys. Really excited for Lan. I think when you sit back and think about the decision he had to make last year, for it to go that well was pretty remarkable and cool to see. So I'm happy for him.